Hi there, thanks for checking out our channel. If this is the first time you've ever seen one of our videos, we appreciate you finding us. We do a lot of electric fence charger repairs. We work on everything, every brand ever made you can think of. I mean, even those oddball brands that haven't been around in 40 years, we work on everything. So if it's a 50, 60, 70-year-old fence charger or a new one, you know, we work on everything. And subscribe to our channel if you like, and hit that thumbs up button on down if you like the video. This is just going to be kind of an overview of this unit. We've already repaired it and everything. This one took a little bit to go through, but this is a Cyclops Super. This will kind of be a review of it, talking about the good of these things. These are really well-built units. There's just about two kind of downsides to them. For the most part, these are really well built. Put a lot of power for not as much money as say a Speed Ride or whatever, but they are a better built, and they do cost more than say a Power Mac or a Power Wizard. But you know, these things are a little bit better built, so you kind of pay more for a little bit better built product. So here's what we did to this thing, just kind of so you know what we did. It got hit by a power surge on the AC side, and it messed up their surge protector board. This is about the only brand out there that has a built-in surge suppressor board into, and that's what this thing is. These big coils, they'll dissipate the energy. These big old MOVs, there's other words for them. These kind of a over surge protection voltage thing. They kind of absorb and try to dissipate all the energy through themselves, or hopefully slow it down enough to where lightning doesn't affect it. But this thing got hit, and got hit pretty hard, and luckily this thing did its job. This part is a lot cheaper to replace than most of the other parts in there. So we replaced this board here. So the AC comes into it, and then it comes out of it and goes to the main power board. The other thing we did to it was we replaced this fuse mount. This is your AC input side transformer. The one that was in there was still semi-good with the fuses blown, but I couldn't get the old fuse cap to stay in place. It's a push and turn type of fuse mount, like this one is over here. This one's the original style, so you kind of push it in and turn it, and it pops out. This one still works, but this one did not. It wouldn't stay tight and stay in place. So the ones that we used to replace it with, they are threaded cap. So it's a lot better quality one than what they use, but it'll hold the same size fuse and everything. So you can see it's a little threaded sleeve in there, so you don't really push and turn. It's just you thread it in like you're tightening up a screw or whatever. Oh, don't want to cross thread it. And that stays in place. A lot better quality. I mean, overall, the unit's a good quality unit, but they do use kind of a cheap fuse sleeve on it, on the thing. But it's not bad. I mean, it's like a pretty cheap part to replace, you know, that kind of story. This one's still good. But other than that, that's all we did to it. I mean, the main board, the transformer, the capacitor, the output board, all that stuff was fine. The output board had a little scorch mark on it, but it was cosmetic. They have a spark gap across their output board, and that little spark gap had gotten burnt across the thing a little bit, just a little scorch mark, but nothing serious. It was not enough to make the output board bad. So overall, the Cyclops brand is a good quality unit, a lot of power for less money. Compared to like a Gallagher or Speed Ride. The downside of them are their fuse mounts are kind of weak on how long they'll last before they kind of wear out. And then the plastic's kind of a weak point too. When they're brand new, it's good, but over the course of time, it gets brittle and cracked. That's what happened up here when I took it apart. There's a sleeve on each corner that the screws go into, and the sleeve that's attached to this part of the case was broken because it's brittle plastic, and so I also broke part of the plastic, this part here where it's over here, kind of cracked and broke. I was afraid to come apart. So all the other screw areas were good, but that one I just kind of put some tape over it to just kind of keep it in place, you know. Because in order to fix it correctly, you got to replace the front case. And when you buy it, you got to buy both the front and the back case for it. So, and you got to buy a sticker for it because all the Cyclops units, all their cases are all the same with all of them. So save the customer some money. She didn't really care. She's like, well, as long as it works, because this thing stays indoors. So you don't have to worry about it being out in the weather and getting water in and everything. So, because no gaskets in these things, there's an overlapping case by about that much, so there's no gaskets in them. So that's why there's tape on this thing. But overall, it's a good unit. Now, when you go to ship one of these things, if you ever need one of these things worked on, if you need to ship it off, the early version Cyclops units were in a black plastic case, and about 15 years ago or so, or whatever it was, they switched over to these red case units. Now, per Cyclops manufacturers and everything, per their instructions, when you ship one of these red case units in, ship it with the unit face down, because there's a big old transformer that sits in the center here, and it's on these little stands that screw to the case. And when it's sitting like this, and you never know how mail or UPS FedEx is going to handle these things, and the less the chance of the transformer shifting or getting bounced around. Transformer is big and heavy. When you pick up one of these units, it's got a lot of weight to it, and about 75% of the weight is in the transformer. And you don't want that transformer to get shifted whenever the unit shifts in the box. So, because if you do, it's going to break the plastic, and then you got to replace the case on it, just because it got bounced around in shipping. So they say shipping it face down like this lessens the chance of it breaking the case if it does get jostled. So you need to put a little packing underneath it, because the knobs, if you put the box in there, there's going to be a little space in there between the knob and the case. So put a little padding down below, and then put that in there, and then pack around the sides on top, and make sure when you close the box up, shake it, make sure the unit doesn't shift a little bit. If it does, you pad a little more packing in around the sides and on top and everything. So if you ship it face up like this, like you normally think you would, it's going to have a pretty good chance of breaking and getting sloshed around inside, because the way the transformer's weight's distributed. I actually got two Cyclops Brute units in about 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, and they're both packed in face up. Luckily, one of them was fine. The case was fine. The other one, the case was cracked, and the transformer was actually starting to come out of the case on it. So I had to replace the whole front case and the back case, rewire, it's a big procedure, because it's basically gutted. You have to take all the parts out, rewire it, put it all back together. It takes a little time. It's an aggravation to have to do that, and it costs you more money and labor and parts and everything. So save yourself some extra money, ship it with the unit face down. So, but let me turn this on and show you a little bit about it. It has one single light here that flashes, and every time it flashes, that's when the shock is coming out. If you get a bad enough short on the fence, this light will go out. So that's a nice thing to, you can walk by, drive by, if you see the light flashing, open up the barn door, look inside, the light's flashing and hooked up to everything, the fence and ground's hooked up. Just keep on going about your day, because the light goes out and it's either clicking or not clicking, and you got problems. So that's a nice thing at a glance. You don't have to worry about a non-working light not meaning something, or a working light that doesn't mean anything, or a row of lights on there, or having use a fence tester all the time, test your fence. You can just walk by, lights flashing, and hook it to the fence and ground. Everything's working fine. So we're going to put a tester across this thing, show you it's working. Across ground and fence. Getting 9.5, give or take, kV, so 9,500 volts roughly out of it. So it puts out a nice high voltage reading. Now we'll take a piece of wire, and we're going to go across. We're just going to do a spark jump. We're going to go across ground and fence. Nice, sharp, hot shot coming from these things. It hits hard. This is a middle of the road size charger. They make about 2 bigger ones and about 3 or 4 smaller ones. So this is right in the middle there. It's upper mid-range. Now on this light, if you're kind of curious about it, if say you walk outside or walk out to the barn shed where this thing's plugged in at, hooked up at. You walk out there and hear the unit clicking. Say the light's not flashing like this. You're like, okay, what's wrong? The thing you want to do is, unplug it, unhook your fence and ground, pull your wires off, and plug it back in. If it goes back to flashing, that usually means you got a bad short. If it still won't flash, check this fuse here. This ties into your fence and ground on the inside on the little board that runs across here. So check this fuse right here. This fuse over here on the left-hand side is for your AC side. So that's how you remember, because the cord's on the AC side. So you just check it. These do come with spare fuses on the outside. Be a little baggy here, but they are a 2 amp, 150 or 250 volt fuse. They are those long tube fuses, but it is a 2 amp, not a 1 amp or a half amp. It is a 2 amp on the Cyclops Super, at least. I think they get bigger or smaller depending on the model and everything. Now if they replace the fuse, or if you're not sure the fuse is bad, you can go and replace it, stick a new one in there, tighten it back up, and plug it back in, and say the lights goes to flashing. Typically you're good to go. Hook it back up, and hopefully it goes to working for you. Other thing you can do is they call it kind of a ground test. So say you walk up to the barn, the light's not flashing, but you can hear it clicking. But the light's not flashing, you unhook it, and the light goes back to flashing. Another thing you can do, sometimes they call it a ground fault inside the transformer or something like that. Hook up just the ground side to your fence or to your charger. Hook it just the ground side and turn it back on. If the light should still flash, if the light still flashes, then the transformer and everything else should be good. If the light does not flash with just the ground hooked up, you typically got a bad transformer inside. I mean, it could be the output board, but most times the transformer's got an issue. So that's another little test you can do. But if you ever need help troubleshooting one of these things, either in the field or on the bench or whatever, give us a call. We'll do it over the phone the best we can. But most times it's almost best to have a unit shipped in here, just because there's so much going on. There's so many wires plugged in different areas, and it's got to narrow down to where the problem's at. So if you ever need one worked on, send it in to us. We're happy to take a peek at it for you. We do give free quotes, and we do have 1.5-year repair warranties and everything. So our website, there is a link down below. Fencerfixer.com is our site, and Fencer and Fixer are both spelled with an F as in Frank. And there's our actually 2 websites. cattlescalerepair.com is our other site, and there's a link down in the description area for both of them. But it's free quotes and 18-month repair warranties, everything that we work on. But we do also work on the cattle scales and low bars and EID tag readers, portable and stationary ones with the big antenna panels on the side of the squeeze chute. We do work on all that stuff. So, but hopefully this helps you out. If you ever got any questions, get a hold of us. But hopefully you like this video, and subscribe to the channel and hit that thumbs up button, all that fun stuff. But until we do another video of how to work on one or how one works, we will see you guys later on.